Property investors, how do you put in an offer so it looks serious and is likely to be accepted by the vendor? So obviously when you're doing your viewings, when you're doing your research and so on, the ultimate aim is to get the property over the line, and in order to do that you need to put in an offer, and the offer needs to be accepted. Obviously bare bones there. So what you need to do is make sure that when you've run your figures, definitely, now again I've made another video on this, but you always need to do your figures pre-viewing, so you've got an idea whether or not it's worth going to the viewing, and then post viewing as well. Because what you might find is that after the viewing, your figures may be a little bit higher or a little bit lower. You know, there may be more work needed or less work needed from the pictures and the videos you may have seen of the property. So once you're happy that the deal stacks, again, there's enough profit in it for you or enough cash flow, whatever it is your strategy is, you need to make sure that you put your offer across to the agents so that it helps you stand out from, Joe Blogs or something like that. Okay, so you need to come across as a serious investor. So one thing I'd never do is, and again, during the or just slightly after the 2020 2021, COVID pandemic, where properties did start to really increase, the amount of viewings that I went on where people were offering, as soon as they were walking out, they'd offer, often just the viewing agent, nothing to do with the estate agency, they just did viewings, was unreal. And I was always shocked at how, they were just very flippant about it. And now I'm not talking like big, multi-million pound property investor players here. I'm just talking, the average investor. So what you need to do is make sure that, of course, the deal needs to stack. You've hopefully done your refurb costs, included stamp duty, included legals, included searches, and anything else that you want to carry on. But you need to make sure that, yes, the deal stacks. Then when you're happy, you need to make sure that you put your deal in writing to the email, to the estate agents. Now, when they're very, very busy, you tend not to get the day after, or especially, 9 out of 10 times now, you tend not to get the estate agents calling you to ask for feedback because they've already had offers. However, and this time will come round again, when times start to quieten down, maybe when there's a crash or a correction, can guarantee that we'll be on the phone to you the next day asking for feedback and if you'd like to put in an offer. Some of the agents still do it now, but it's very few and far between. And again, we're going lots of viewings every week. So what you need to do is make sure you put your offer in writing. Now, I'm not saying obviously snail mail, handwrite it or anything, but it needs to be on email. So things that I would put in my offer is, following my viewing yesterday of one, I don't know, Smith Street or something like that, we are interested in the property and we would like to put in an offer of this amount. Now, underneath that, or again, you could do it before this, we believe that it needs this work doing to it to bring it up to a standard that we'd like. So again, that's when you can list maybe new roof, new front door, new windows, new gas central heating system, new carpentry throughout, new kitchen, new bathroom, new whatever it is. Okay, you don't just want to put a one-line email saying, yeah, the view we saw yesterday, we're going to offer 100 grand. You need to make sure that there's some sort of substance behind it as to why you're offering that. So again, that's going to help you become, or should I say, separate yourself from others. Now, along with that as well, we always send across, even if we've bought off the agents before, proof of ID, proof of funds as well, because you'd be surprised how many agents say, we've got an offer on the table, we're just waiting for proof of funds. For me, that's proper, tire kicking territory. Some people go out and view properties without having like even a decision in principle or anything like that. They're doing it a little bit backwards. So just to go over it again, I would always send ID, a copy of ID, so passport, driving license, whatever, proof of funds. If you're doing it through a mortgage or bridging finance, then maybe, a decision in principle, a DIP, have that in there as well. Ideally, one that hasn't expired. If you've got a good relationship with your broker, he or she should be able to knock you on up quite quickly, really. And then obviously reasoning as to why you've put in that offer. So if the property was, we've got one going through at the moment now, it was up for, it's only small back-to-back property this, it was up originally for 97, then got reduced to 90 within about 3 weeks, really, there or thereabouts. We put in an offer of 77, expecting it to get knocked back. Then we crept it up to 78, and then we managed to secure it for 80, which again, there's still good numbers in the deal for what it is, really. But never ever put your maximum price in at first. So if the property's up for 120, don't go putting in and the maximum you can afford is 105. Don't say our offer is 105, because then there's no room for any negotiation or anything like that, because they might come back to you and say, well, the vendor was interested in 106 and a half. Can you do that? And again, you might have lost a deal because of the sake of 1,500 quid. So you need to make sure that you've got a little bit of wiggle room in your offers. Now, I'm not talking the property's up for 100. The property's up for 120. You offer 100. They said no, they won't take less than 118. Then you meet them all the way to 118. It can't work like that. I suppose it can if you don't want to make any money, but you need to make sure that you're securing the property profit from day one. As soon as you pick up the keys, there should be profit already locked into that deal, because that's when you obviously make your money. So again, just to confirm what I've said there, I would never offer after the viewing or during the viewing. I would always make sure, go home, you or your partner or a team member does the figures a little bit more accurately based on your on-site viewing. Then the day after, or again that evening, so that they pick it up the morning after, send a draft. You should have this drafted up really as one of your systems. Send a offer letter to the emails, to the estate agents, ideally one or two addresses really. It might be info at or sales at or team at, but then also another email address if you can, just in case that one goes missing, just in case your email doesn't get through to where it's supposed to. Might end up in spam, who knows. So the email then should say, thanks a lot for your time yesterday. We are interested in this property. Here is our proof of funds. Here is our ID. One thing I did forget to mention earlier on, sorry. Here are the solicitors we've used. These have done several purchases for us for the last 6, 12, 18 months, whatever it is, 2 years. We'd like to put in an offer for X amount based on the fact that it needs and all of these points that it will need. Now, if it's a turnkey property, which again we never look at, but if it's a property that doesn't need anything, then you can't really go in and say, we believe it needs, new everything, because the estate is just going to think, what's going on. You need to make sure that the things that you've said in your email can be backed up. And one thing we also do as well is we've got quite good relationships with most of the agents in our investment area. We'll always back it up with a phone call, maybe, if they haven't got back in touch with us by 3, 4 o'clock that afternoon, and just say, obviously this offer stands for whatever, close of play till tomorrow business, close of play tomorrow or something like that. Or if you're putting it in on a Friday, maybe until close of play on Monday, whatever. Just don't let them think that, they can come back to you in 4 or 5 days' time and then say yes or no. You as a property investor need to make sure you're doing your research all the time, viewings all the time, and offering as well. And obviously, to make sure you're offering, you need to be raising finance, or at least bringing on investors and so on. So yeah, I hope that helps people. Good luck. Keep taking steps further forward. And again, please subscribe to this channel. If you do want any more property investing videos, I try to put a couple out each week. Just leave us a comment in the comment section. Tell us what you'd like to know a little bit more of. And yeah, good luck everybody, and all the best. Take care.